lovely people, you are welcome to my channel. Thanks so much for your support. I really appreciate it. Please, if you have not yet subscribed, consider subscribing and please share this video. You might win a soul by just sharing this video. Today too, I am here to give you a summary of the Sabbath School lesson 7 in the 4th quarter. That is Sabbath afternoon and Sunday lesson. Lesson 7 talks about worship in education. Worship in education. And our memory text is taken from 1 Chronicles 16 verse 29. And I read, "Give to the Lord the glory due his name. Bring an offering and come before him. Oh, worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness." Oh, worship the Lord in the beauty of holiness. Amen. This week, the introduction of the lesson is given to us that worship is part of humanity. Whatever, no matter what we do, worship is part of us. That is because God made it part of us. Even though our world is fallen, worship is still part of us. God created worship for man so that he can have that kind of communication with God. And so we can imagine before sin how worship used to be. Adam and Eve having that kind of face-to-face interaction with God. And sin came and everything changed. And so today, the lesson says that today, of course, although the innate need to worship still exists in us, it's like everything else in this world has been twisted and distorted by sin, which means that among other things, we as worshiping beings can end up worshiping the wrong things or even end up not worshiping the Lord in the way that he is supposed to be worshipped. That is it. Because sin has distorted everything, human beings are either worshiping God in the wrong way or not worshiping God at all, which makes it very important that in our Christian education, we talked about the right worship. We are moving straight to Sunday, and the Sunday talks about we all worship something. We all worship something. There is something in us, something, no doubt, that was originally woven in us by God, but as with everything else, became wrapped by sin that longs to worship. So the Sunday lesson is drawing our mind to the fact that there is something in us that yearns to worship. And that is because God created it in us. God made it part of us, worship part of us. So before sin, humanity knew only God, interaction and worshiping God, praising him only. Then sin came and it's destroyed everything. And so we are worshiping something. Today, most people are too sophisticated to bow down before a statue of a frog, but apparently not a statue of Mary. In those days, where we have these empires and all that, people were worshiping statues, they were worshiping their kings, their monarchs, or whatever that they think it's deemed for worship. Some worship the sun, the moon, and all that. And the lesson is drawing our attention to the fact today, people will find it difficult to bow before a statue of a frog or a lion or some animal that this is my God and they are worshiping it. But some go to church and bow before statues of human beings and worship them. Some have pictures of human beings or even God in their room where they bow to and say they are what? They are worshiping. And there are some people who say, I am not a Christian, I'm not a Muslim, I'm not a traditionalist, so me, I don't worship anything. You worship something. It could be money, it could be fame, it could be yourself, politics, it could be sports, it could be anything that you hold in high esteem. Something that you are so much attached to it, you are worshiping that thing. So he said, whatever we love the most, whatever the focus most of our attention on, whatever we live for, that is what we worship. Warned secular author David Foster Wallace, if you worship the wrong thing, it will eat you alive. If you worship the wrong thing, it will eat you alive. So whatever you hold in high esteem, that is what you worship. Some even worship sex. It's everything. Like they would die without it. So whatever you live for is what you worship. When we read Daniel 3, when King Nebuchadnezzar made a statue and commanded that everybody should bow to the statue, the 3 Hebrew boys decided not to bow to that statue because that is not biblical. they decided to stand on their feet and not to bow. They said, even if our God does not listen to us, we will not bow. And so let's look at something. The three Jewish boys obviously took the second commandment as seriously as God had meant it to be taken. And so they knew that God had said that we shouldn't bow to any image, whether it's likeness in heaven above, on earth, or anywhere, we shouldn't bow. So they said to themselves in their hearts they would not, and they made sure they never bowed. And God came to their rescue. The amazing thing here is that they said even if God does not come to their rescue, they will not bow to it. Worship, proper worship, is so important that in fact it becomes central to the issues in the last days before the second coming of Christ. Thus, Christian education needs to include the whole question of worship. What is it? How do we do it? Why is it important? And whom do we worship? Amen. As the world is coming to an end, worship is central, very important. What are you worshiping? What are you holding in high esteem? Worship will become the basis for which some will be trialed, some will be killed, some will be set free. And so as part of Christian education, we need to talk more of worship, what it is, how do we go about it, so we will do it and do it the right way. Thanks so much for watching. If you have not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing and do well to share this video. You might win a soul by sharing this video. God bless you. Bye bye.